Hi, everyone. Just wanted to talk to you today about a recent experience we had. It was actually a surprise gift given to me from my lovely wife here and our son for Father's Day. It was really fun. It was really cool. It's an experience I highly recommend. And Kelly, since she booked it, is going to tell you all about it.
Yeah, so I was trying to think of something different that we had never done before. So just going through the Disney website, I came across the tours. And right now, there are a few different tours you can take. And neither one of us, surprisingly, have ever been on a tour. So I thought that would be a really great thing for us to experience together. The one that I chose is called Walt's Main Street Story Tour. It's a 90-minute tour where they take you down Main Street and you learn so many little hidden ins and outs, little details that you would never know. They had so much information to give, so many stories. It was a really cool tour. So let me just tell you what's included in the tour. It's a walking tour down Main Street, USA. You visit Walt's legendary apartment. And if you don't know what that is, then maybe this tour is not for you.
But if you do know, yeah, maybe learn all about it. It'll be a really cool surprise.
But if you do know what that is, let me tell you that when you go into the apartment, everybody on the tour gets very emotional. Like, I'm tearing up just thinking about that moment when you walk in. It is, like it says, it's a legendary.
I think it's just, especially if you grew up going to Disneyland like we have. Like, we've been going there probably for 40 years or more, and you're able to bring your own personal experiences into it and getting to see the personal experiences of the person and the people that built the park. Mm-hmm. It makes it feel more personal, and I'm having a hard time thinking
before we get to that, let me finish the rundown. So they're also included in the tour, just because we're getting a little too emotional talking about this, but also included in the tour are refreshments and PhotoPass photos. And you get the digital downloads included with this. You have to have a park ticket and a reservation for that day to do the tour. You book them online in advance, and I actually did get there was a 15% Disney Visa card member discount. So if you book it online and you're a Disney Visa card member, you should get a discount with this one. I'm not sure if they offer a Magic Key Pass discount. That's something that you can look into, but I didn't see that mentioned. Yeah, so we went on Wednesday, June 19th for the Juneteenth holiday. I was out of work, and it was a very busy, crowded day.
Yeah, I guess if we're going to start talking about the tour itself, mm-hmm. I think because it was so crowded, the Main Street portion of it probably went a little bit faster than they usually would, mm-hmm. just because you just couldn't stand in any one place for too long. The tour guide still did a great job of sheltering us from the sea of people.
Yeah.
But I think the benefit of that, though, is I think we did get extra time in mm-hmm. Walt's apartment that you wouldn't normally get.
Yes, and it was a very small group. It was just the two of us and one other couple. It was a very personal tour. We were able to ask as many questions as we wanted, and they had lots of answers to give us.
Our tour guide, Trisha, was very knowledgeable. Mm-hmm. I mean, she's passionate about being a tour guide, and she had an answer for everything.
Yeah, it seems like everyone in that tour department, they know their stuff, and they just love what they do.
Yeah, if you have any questions, just walk up to that tour guide station mm-hmm. and ask, and I think they just love to share information, whether you're taking a tour or not.
Yeah, so the tour guide station is right when you walk into Main Street, all the way to the left, right before you get to the City Hall. You check in there 15 minutes before your tour. It's a nice little shaded area. They give you, like I said, you get some refreshments at the end of the tour, and you can just sit there and hang out with them and ask questions. They had some books for us to look through. Eric even had some of his own family videos that he was asking who are the people in the videos, and that were Disney family, and they were all interested in seeing this footage, and they all knew who everybody was. So we got some of our own answers from taking this tour. So I'm going to ask you some questions, I guess, of what you thought about it. What was something new that you learned on this tour? We don't want to give away everything because it really is worth taking this tour, but maybe we'll just share like maybe one or two of our things that we learned.
There was just, there's like a lot of Disneyland trivia and things I've heard over the years. And a lot of it I've learned just from talking to other people, or I've gotten from watching other YouTube videos. But a lot of that, it was just something they heard. I couldn't really confirm if it's true or not. So it was really cool having somebody in an official position confirming a lot of these rumors and trivia that you learn as a Disneyland fan, such as the brick test wall. I've heard people talking about that before. There's a drinking fountain brick wall by the lockers, and half of it looks kind of like rustic brick, and the other half looks like new brick. And the rumor that I always heard was that this was Walt's test wall, so he could decide which brick he liked best. But you also hear that Walt's a perfectionist, so I'm like, why would he leave a test wall in the park? But apparently it's true. He did.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like cool hearing about how that's true, and then like the red and white light bulb at the refreshment corner. I knew about that, but I didn't know how much of it was rumored about it being like special made bulbs. I thought maybe somebody just painted them or something.
So
It's true.
At the refreshment corner at the end of Main Street, they have a series of lights, white, red, all the way around. And there is a corner where it doesn't quite line up. So they had to create a light bulb that's half white and half red. And they have to custom make that light bulb to fit in there.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. Like you hear about Walt being a perfectionist, yet you have like a half and half bulb, and you have a half and half wall.
Right. I think my favorite thing was actually seeing when we were upstairs in the apartment. They would point out to us where certain things were, like where the fire pole was that Walt used to slide down the pole to go from the apartment down into Main Street. And, they had to quickly close that up, and they put in a little... we're going to have to cut this part out because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, we can talk a little bit about just the structure of the tour, maybe.
Yeah.
We won't go into like too much detail. We don't want to give too many spoilers in case you're thinking about taking the tour yourself. But basically, you start at the guided tour area. It looks kind of like a little shaded gazebo area.
Yeah.
And they take you out to the beginning of Main Street where the flagpole is. And Tricia, our tour guide, started talking about Walt Disney, his past, where he grew up. So we start learning, basically from the beginning. This is Walt's Main Street story. And then we progress all the way down to the end of Main Street, looking at some of the windows with names, talking about who some of these people were that helped build Main Street. She told us about what some of the shops were, kind of when it first opened and what they are now, but how there's still nods to these previous original Main Street locations. Just for an example, that test wall that I was talking about, right next to it, there's a window that shows 2 ice cream cones, and that was the original ice cream stand.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting hearing things like that. And you pretty much just work your way down to the end of Main Street, learning lots of cool facts that you might not have known before.
Yeah. And even learning about people that we didn't know that were very important in the early days of Disneyland.
And then once you get to the end, we work our way back on the opposite side of the street, and we go backstage next to the fire station and up the stairs into Walt's office. And I guess, I'm not sure if we mentioned it already, but film recording and audio recording is not allowed on the tour, when you're out on Main Street, you are allowed to take as many photos as you want. But when you're in Walt's office, there's no photos, no video, no audio recording. But they do have a photo pass person there that will take specially angled.
Yeah, it's very much a museum, if you will. When you go up there, everything's really well preserved. They have you set your bags to the side, and there's a certain space that you can stand in. We did get to kind of peek around the corners, but really you are limited when you go up there. You don't want to touch anything, and you can't really just wander around freely. You kind of have to stand in one space.
Yeah, basically where they tell you.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if they make everybody take their bags off or they just saw how clumsy I am and said, leave your bag over here. We don't want you bumping or turning or backing into anything.
There was a lot of old china and glassware that we wouldn't want to knock over. So.
Yeah, and there's a lot of the things in the apartment were original, but they also acknowledge that, like the famous lamp in the window, which is, in Walt Disney's honor, they keep it lit at all times. It was kind of like a tradition that they talked about that when Walt was at Disneyland, he'd have his lamp on in his apartment so people would know when Walt's at the park. But after he passed away, as a tradition, they have that lamp always on just to signify that he's always at the park. But they're kind of, they acknowledge that a lot of things like, the lamp that you see in the window isn't the original lamp. A lot of the furniture and fixings are fixtures. Fixings. Fixings. A lot of the fixtures aren't original just because when he did pass away, a lot of that stuff went to his loved ones and his family, and also over the years things break.
So this was where his family stayed. It was their personal items. So after he passed, some of the family did come and take some things that were very had meaning to them. The other things that are left there are still some things that are antiques.
Yeah, and are original. There's a huge music box in there.
1800s.
Yeah, which is really cool. And there's also some interesting items that I personally kind of thought were kind of funny that were original. Like he had an electric grilled cheese maker, which looked like the early version of the George Foreman lean, mean, fat-reducing grilling machine. Which I'm not sure if George Foreman maybe took this tour and got the idea of it. Yeah. I thought it was kind of funny. And,
and for what reason would you need 4 shower heads?
Yeah, his bathroom there has 4 shower heads. And the tour guide said that nobody knows. That's a Disney mystery. Maybe, if you're a YouTuber out there, that might be something to look into.
The mystery of the shower heads.
Yeah, it's nothing, I don't think we'll be able to crack that case. No. I guess we kind of talked about it a little bit before, but just kind of like a lot of the personal feelings that you get from being in his apartment. And hopefully I'm not calling it his office. For some reason I keep calling it his office, but that's not his office, it's his apartment. I think because the beds in there are convertible beds into couches, so it looks more like a living room than a bedroom. I know one of the first things that I noticed that I went in there was a picture on the wall of Walt Disney driving his grandkids in an electric car, and the tour guide talked about that, and she said it was at a Christmas parade. And Kelly mentioned it before, but I have some old family home video, or not home video, but 8mm film or 60mm film that was taken from a Christmas parade around that era, and it has Walt Disney driving his grandkids, and it just, I don't know, looking at the way they're dressed and being that Christmas parade, it almost makes me wonder, like, what was this video taken the same day that this photo was?
Maybe, yeah.
So it's kind of cool seeing that. Just seeing like a personal connection. I'm not sure if you.
I don't know if I saw that. There was a lot to take in.
Yeah.
I liked the whole style of it. Was Victorian. It matched what was outside the window on Main Street, very much, but still had some of the 50s and 60s, like the board games and things that you might have for your grandkids to come stay there. I liked that.
I thought it was, it really revealed a lot about Walt's personality, that he had, one of the set dressers from Disneyland design his apartment and made it so it fit with all of Main Street. Just not everybody gets to see his apartment, but he wanted to make it. If someone came up there to see him in his apartment, you weren't going to be taken out of that world. I mean, even the telephone was like an old-fashioned telephone, so it was
and still works.
Yeah, if you have the number.
What else? Oh, yeah. So one of the other things I loved about the tour was just sitting down and talking to our tour guide. She had so much information about the horses on Main Street. She knew all of their names and their personalities, and it was just fun to learn these little details.
Yeah, and she was willing to answer questions about anything. She was just, you could tell that she loved talking about this stuff, and would would be able to talk to you for as long as you wanted. I mean, they give you plenty of time afterwards to eat the gigantic cookie that they give you, which is it's huge.
Actually, I don't think we ever finished ours because they're so big. And, I've nibbled on mine a couple times, but yeah, like we still have.
At the end of the tour, it's probably a bit washed out, but we have a couple photos.
It's a very big cookie.
It's got almost the size of her head.
Yeah.
It's if you're wondering, it has a slight lemon flavor, and it has I guess it's almost like a royal icing.
Yeah, it's a sugar cookie royal icing.
It's not a hard royal icing.
A little bit of a lemon flavor,
Something between a royal icing and a fondant. I don't know.
And then you could choose what beverage you wanted. So I had, a bottle of Coke, and he had a Diet Coke, and we just sat and talked for the last part of the tour.
And she had like a vintage reprint, or a reprint of a vintage National Geographic that was from the era, that talks about his apartment and some other books. And she also mentioned that this little snack time afterwards was held at the tables that were outside of the guided tours area. She said that usually this is I don't know what you call it. Snack time is
snack time.
It's they usually hold that in the patio, which is just outside of Walt's apartment. That's on the second level above the restrooms. Between the firehouse and the town hall. But because of all the rain we had, that area was flooded and it had a lot of water damage. So it's currently being repaired, but I think they're planning to resume that once it's all repaired.
Yeah, we didn't get to go out there. We did see the little doorway that leads that way, but we didn't get to go out to that little patio. But that was the patio that the family used when they were there. They'd go stand out there, and you were out on Main Street, basically hidden from view. Very cool.
Yeah, I was kind of wishing that the fire pole was still there so we could all ride it down to exit. But one of the stories that she told, that the tour guide told, was that some adventurous kid climbed up the fire pole and came face to face with Walt Disney in his office, and after that it had to be boarded up. It was
quickly sealed off.
But half of the pole is still in the firehouse if you want to see where it was.
In the fire station portion downstairs.
Yeah, and you can see the little room if you look up to the side of the firehouse where the pole was housed before.
Yeah, so we love the tour. I think anybody who is as big of a fan of Disneyland as we are would also love the tour. So if you're ever thinking about doing one, I highly recommend it. I can't say enough good things about our tour guide.
Yeah, she was great. And during the discussion afterwards, other tour guides were coming up and talking with us. I mean, they all seem very like they just love to pass on this knowledge to others. It seemed like it was like a real passion that all of them shared. And they also talked about there's some other tours that are going on that we haven't done yet, but I think I think we want to do more of these in the future. Definitely.
There's a tour they're doing right now. I don't know what the name of it is, but they talk about the trains. You get to go to what's it called? The Roundhouse. and ride in the Lily Bell special train car. That's the old train car.
I think that might be the only way you can do it now. Before, you used to be able to ask, and it would let you just like riding in the front of the monorail. Last few times that my cousin Andrew asked, they said no, and I don't know if it was just him, something about him, or if it's just something that they're not doing post-COVID.
Maybe, yeah. So they have that tour going on, and then they have a Cultivating the Magic tour, which is all about the plants and the beautiful flowers at Disneyland. So
and that one, they did mention is a longer tour, and it does cost a little bit more.
Yeah.
They also talked about, I guess the tour guides are able to pitch tours and they have to write them themselves. So if there's any thing that you want to see, maybe go up to a tour guide and say, hey, how about making a tour about this or that. I know she was talking about that a lot of people want the Halloween tour to come back, so they're hoping that will come back, but we'll just have to wait and see. She wasn't saying anything official about that, but they're aware that people want that. Yeah,
so the tours are slowly coming back now since COVID and the closures, and it's a very small department, but they have it together. They know what they're talking about. So I think that if more people are booking these tours, we're going to see more tours in the future.
And if there's any tours you want to see us do, let us know in the comments, because I think we're eager to do another one.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
If you can, help us out with a like. And if you like hearing about this sort of thing, give us a subscribe, because like I said, we want to do more of this, and we'd love to talk about it with other people.
Yeah.
And I guess there's some sort of bell that you ring, pretend you're at the firehouse pulling that little string. There is a bell you can ring at the firehouse. Make sure to check that out, especially if you have kids. They love it. So thanks for watching.
Bye. Cut.